What's happening, guys? This is Logan Robinson from Hear the Spear, presented to you by NoleGameday.com. We're here live on a wonderful, fantastic Wednesday evening, and we have another game ahead of us, gentlemen, after a pretty rough loss there in Death Valley.
Do we have to?
Yeah, we have to. We still got a game to preview. We still got score predictions to put in. I took an L this last weekend on predicting Florida State to win that one. So we're going to have a battle here with the last three games on here, and going to be very interesting, at least for us, to see who's going to come away on top, because for the most part, year after year, we're pretty aligned with our game predictions. So this one is going to be pretty interesting. So we'll have our score predictions after that. So we're also going to talk about the main topic for this show is about Mike Norvell saying that there is going to be more championships on the way to Florida State. We're going to do a deep dive into his quotes there and also do some fact checking on Mike as well. We've also got some NFL Noles updates. Of course, we're going to talk about some Florida State basketball and Luke Laux almost coming away with a big-time upset in Gainesville. But like I tweeted last night, I think there was a lot of boxes checked yesterday in that game alone. And then we also going to talk about some of those signees, some big-time signees that are going to help that team moving forward next year. We've got some sleeper picks to make as well for this Florida State Virginia Tech game. And then at the very end, like I said, we'll make some score predictions and also, of course, get some preview in. But with me this evening is Austin Veazey, our lead basketball writer at NoleGameday.com. And then all the way to the other side is our editor-in-chief, D-Lou. Gentlemen, we are nearing the end of the regular season. We don't know if it will be the full season for Florida State football, but we are getting close to Thanksgiving. We're getting close to the end of the season, and I think a lot of fans right now are just kind of like questioning, honestly, more than anything. I think, yes, you're looking forward to being in Doak for a Saturday night game for the last one of the season. Absolutely. But you know, a lot of our attention is toward what the program is going to look like moving forward into 2026.
Yeah, you know, who knows at this point? Obviously, these last three games are really, really important for Florida State's postseason hopes, and I mean, need to at least make it to a bowl game. It's crazy, you know, how fast the college football season always seems to fly year by year. Already here, 10th game for Florida State, middle of November. Should be a pretty packed house in Doak, I would imagine, considering how many fans showed up for that Wake Forest game and being out there to celebrate the seniors one last time. And obviously, you know, Florida State has only won at home this season, winless on the road, 0-3. So you've got to figure they got to win this one in Doak and then win one of the last two, NC State or Florida, on the road.
Yeah, we'll see about that game. It's going to be an interesting challenge against a Virginia Tech team that's basically just a running football team only. They prefer not to pass if they can help it. And Kyron Jones, you know, made those comments 2 years ago where he didn't think Doak Campbell was that tough of an atmosphere, and then lost, what was it, 39-17, whatever the final score was.
Yep.
So he's back in Doak Campbell Stadium. I'm sure there's some fans that haven't forgotten about that, and we'll see. I know there's people that still care.
I was going to say, I mean, yeah, strong quote there from Jones, and kind of learned his lesson there. But we'll see what ends up happening this weekend with this team. Before we get started, if you're listening here on YouTube, make sure to smack that like button down below. If you're new as well, subscribe. We go live on Wednesday evenings, and also go live right after games for our instant reactions. And then Dustin and I jump on Monday afternoon to go over Mike Norvell's press conference and try to get some injury updates as well. But I say we jump into the first thing that really caught my eye for this week. And it was, of course, Mike Norvell's press conference that, you know, sometimes I would say for a majority of times, you know, Dustin and I are always trying to find things from it. And it's hard to find much from Mike's pressers because it's a lot of coach speak. He is the definition of coach speak, but there are times in seasons where he kind of unlocks a little bit, and in this presser alone, he sure did, to, you know, kind of dive in deeper of where he feels like this program will head in the near future under him and his staff. He is very aware that the 2024 season was a failure. He said that in this presser, and he said that in the year past, but he went on kind of a run here talking about he still feels very confident about this current team, and also very, very confident about where the future lies in the program. Here's what he had to say. He said, "I'm fully aware of the outside narrative around our team is not good. Around me is probably not good. That's fine. That will not affect the job that I'm going to show up and do. I'm going to pour everything I have to this team with a championship expectation. I've actually won a championship, and we're going to do it again. We're going to do it here. That might piss people off. So be it. They'll be celebrating when we're hosting a trophy, and it will be the belief that I see from our players, the belief that I see from our coaches, the talent that I know that our players have, and the guys that are coming to be a part of this. I know what it looks like, and I've actually done it. I can sit here and say it with confidence. We're going to get this back. Fixed it once. We're going to fix it again. And, I think that was one that, Mike it's pretty much been assertive. I feel like after the Stanford game and whenever Michael Alford, Florida State's athletic director, put out the statement saying that he was, going to reassess things after the season, but they are confident in trying to support Mike Norvell throughout the rest of the season. You can definitely feel a confidence factor from Mike Norvell, believing, this is going to be his team going into 2026. Now that can certainly, like he said, piss a lot of people off, and this fan base is already riled up and ticked off, as they should be 100%. But when he says it like that, and then too brings up that he is going to bring championships and that we're going to fix it again, I think the fan base is like, Mike, why do we have to fix this again?
Exactly what I was just thinking.
And he did tell us going into this season that this was going to be a very quick fix. And we are in November 12th, ladies and gentlemen, and it has not been a quick fix.
Hey, well, they have almost tripled their win total.
That is true. That is true. And still with just one ACC win. Still. And if things get crazy with Virginia Tech, I know, Dustin, you and I were talking earlier today. The NC State game is, this team can't win on the road. They can't win on the road. So you got to hope everything that you double your ACC wins and beat Virginia Tech on Saturday night, I guess. You're lucky you're at home.
I would imagine so. It's been almost 2 years since Florida State won a regular season away road game. That was obviously in Gainesville to cap off the 2023 regular season. NC State, that's just been a house of horrors for FSU over the years. And, we'll see how this team fares going into there. And that's going to be a Friday night game as well. So you're going to have a short week following this Virginia Tech game and have to be ready for that one on the road. Then you follow that up with your second consecutive game away from home in Gainesville. It's going to be loud there. They've played decently at home for parts of the season. Obviously, upset Texas a couple of months ago. So, we'll just have to see. The road struggles are real for this Florida State team. We kind of talked about it in the instant reaction, but every single of these 3 road games that they've had during the 2025 season, they found some different way to shoot themselves in the foot. And maybe that's the most frustrating part of it, is it's not the same issue that's plaguing Florida State in these losses. It's different things popping up in each one. So they figure one thing out, but then something else goes wrong. And it's, like I said, something that's persisted for almost 2 years. They definitely need to get that streak off their back pretty soon.
Yeah. I at least appreciate the confidence because, he's been a shell of himself for 2 years now, pretty much. Ever since the snub, so I at least appreciate him showing some fire and some confidence. It's just not realistic. It's just not. Yeah, at best, he gets one more year, and unless they just go absolutely nuclear in the transfer portal and do what Texas Tech did, getting all these crazy players, they're just not going to be that great of a team again next year. Unless he's talking about golf championships or basketball championships or soccer, it's not going to be football championships with him here. I just don't see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I will say, like Austin kind of said, just to have the realness, some genuineness, that's not something that we've seen a lot from Mike Norvell recently. And Logan, you kind of mentioned it earlier. It's a lot of word salad whenever Mike is talking. So to have a statement like this, where he's telling people that he wants to bring championships back to Florida State, and he's like, I don't care what the outside opinion is. We're focused on what we're doing in the building, regardless of whether it works out or not. I'm personally on the train that it's probably not going to work out for Mike Norvell in Tallahassee, but he's still having that commitment. Showing that effort. And Florida State, there are some talented young pieces on this roster, guys who are in their second year, in their first year of the program on both sides of the ball. But when you look at what you have to do this offseason, I mean, replace your entire starting offensive line. And I mean, you're certainly going to have to upgrade what you have at linebacker and at defensive line. Who knows what's going to happen at wide receiver? You know, if Deuce Robinson decides to go to the NFL, you're going to need some guys there. It's obviously a thin tight end room. So a lot of holes for Florida State to plug no matter what.
And it's not like Tommy's job should be safe based on last week's performance.
Yeah, he's got to clean things up. Yeah, that was probably his worst performance he's had this season for FSU, and he was very open to that after the game. And you could tell, you know, he was certainly not happy with how he played. But yeah, I mean, that's a question mark. That's a massive question mark. This whole roster is a massive question mark going into next season. It was already going to be that, but then when you add in the kind of season that they've had, and then, you know, we were talking about recruiting too as well before we went live, like how that is also going to play out at the high school level and trying to keep those guys in the class, and also too tried to get some guys to bring into the fold for this upcoming recruiting class. It's not going to be easy. And, you know, he keeps on going back talking about the championships and stuff. Only one championship has been won. And I understand that's great. That's great. You reached an ACC championship. That's awesome. But that level is higher. And I understand they did not get that opportunity in the college football playoff. They should have. They did not. They got snubbed. It is what it is. But, you know, the standard is getting to a national championship, making a postseason run in the college football playoff, the ACC championships, the ACC championship. That's great. That's awesome. But I think as a fan, you know, Bobby Bowden set this standard. Jimbo Fisher came in and was successful as well and reached that tier that you have to whenever you are a Seminole head coach. And you're fighting to reach a national championship. And you know, he keeps going to the past, and I don't think fans are going to like that with the record that they currently have, talking about the past continuously, when certainly your conference record is absolutely atrocious, absolutely embarrassing, and you're overall 4-5 on the season. You're in a losing season, and you know, you lost to Stanford. I mean, that one still is it still seems like a dream, you know, to me that actually happened.
And it's gonna be the reason they don't make a bowl game. I'll just say it now. They're not making a bowl game, and losing to Stanford is gonna be the reason why.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big conversation that we are going to have probably whenever we get into all these predictions moving forward, these next 3 games, is which one are you going to have? Which one are you going to win? Because like we said earlier, the NC State game is going to be very rough. Florida State has had past history there where things don't really work out well for them. And this season, this team cannot play well on the road. I have no idea what it is. I have no idea. It was you know, drops from some of your biggest playmakers of the season, your consistent, reliable players like, you know, Randy Pittman wide open, which could have been, you know, a potential game changer for them to build off some momentum offensively. And then, you know, seeing the reaction from some of the sideline and, you know, just absolutely gut rent. Like, it's just, I don't know what it is about being on the road for this team. And it's been that way since last year too, as well. They just cannot play an actual football game on the road. And that's all starts with coaching, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, we don't know what's going on in practices, but we did previously. You know, they have noise going on. It's high tempo and everything. And you thought too, with the changes or whatever they're doing with the new coordinators, things were going to help improve that. But it's the same thing as last year. Nothing has improved. And that is the same head coach that you had last year. He's on this squad again. And it's just, you know, it's hard to find optimism that Florida State's going to win another road game this season. And they have 2 more, ladies and gentlemen.
And I personally think the road struggles, it's been a theme throughout Mike Norvell's tenure. You even point to 2023, you almost got upset by Boston College, and you were in a little bit of a dogfight there with Pittsburgh later on in the season. 2022, you've got that really infuriating loss to NC State on the road where you turn it over in the final minute essentially and lose that one. 2021, there's the Wake Forest game where Jordan Travis and Mackenzie Milton are getting flipped out back and forth. And then the regular season finale of that game, Florida State 5-6 with a chance to make a bowl game, overcome that 0-4 start, and they go to Gainesville, lose to an interim head coach, and melt down in the process. So, I mean, we could be setting ourselves up for a very similar scenario here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, We'll see. We'll see. But that was, the big thing that came out from this press conference. He feels confident and under him and the staff that they will reach another championship of whatever that caliber is. It's just, I don't like going to the past. It's, I don't know. Not at this time. It's not great. It's not a good thing to really bring up currently. I don't know. It just, I'm watching the presser and I'm on the road back from Clemson. I'm like, I don't know if you talk like that, man. I don't know. I like you said, I like the openness from him on that part. It's just, that's just something that, and he said, it's going to piss people off. And sure enough, it definitely did. You can see the reaction across social media. And I was a little shocked by some of those things, but, he's like, it's not going to happen this year. Not going to reach championship. No shit.
Yeah.
No shit. No shit, man. I tried to it too. I never got a chance until this last game against Clemson to ask him a question. And, I tried to really find something for him to open up and maybe, say some things about the players and, being disappointed about the execution on the field, and only got one word answer from him. He just, like I said, shell of himself, kind of keeping things to the chest until eventually I think everybody bombards him with, the same thing. And then he opens up and kind of goes on a ramble. But
it's been that way since the snub. I mean, nothing's been quite the same since. And as much as he wants to talk about bringing more championships to Florida State, we've seen the response from this program, which, it was obviously an absolute travesty and a terrible decision to leave an undefeated conference champion out of the college football playoff. But what Florida State has done since then, it's just been a total collapse for this football program. And, other teams have caught up. That was something, the transfer portal was something Florida State used to kind of elevate themselves and get ahead early in Mike's tenure. Everyone's caught up to that at this point. And then now, the failures at the high school level, they're really rearing their heads for Florida State. You've had a lot of guys decommit from this program that have gone on to do big things elsewhere in college football. And then, frankly, a lot of the blue chips that Florida State has landed, the lone 5-star prospect they've gotten in Mike Norvell's tenure, Hakeem Williams, they've been bust.
No development, no good recruiting. Like it's been a thing for 6 years now. He can say we're going to fix this and win championships, but he shouldn't have to fix it again. It should have been fixed along the way. There's never a scenario where we should have been in this situation to begin with. And that's what that disconnect is, what fans are so upset about from that quote, is you're the reason you have to fix it again. It's no one else's fault. It's only your fault. And I get that the snub was, a huge, like you said, a huge travesty, something that should just never happen in this day and age of college football, but it did happen. And for someone that keeps saying we're going to respond, we're still waiting on you to respond for that from 2 years ago.
And at least in 2020 and 2021,
they responded with that first drive against Georgia Tech. VZ, what are you talking about?
What a response! The next
8-point drive,
the next 55 minutes, the next 55 minutes for utter devastation.
In 2020 and 2021, you could point to he's still cleaning up the mess that Jimbo and Willie Taggart left in the program, but it's year 5 and 6. He's had chance to bring in all of his guys, all of his coaches. I think at this point, all of the issues with Florida State's program, they're at Mike Norvell's feet.
Well, and also to keep them and retain them, which also put him into a deeper hole, like Adam Fuller, Alex Atkins, some of the blame that you want to put it on, Ron Dugans, whatever that is, he put himself into that hole. Yeah, Randy Shannon, like that, he was given, another year with those guys, and I'm sure that was brought up with the admin, like, hey, do we need to make changes? Or surely definitely could, but the loyalty also hurt him quite a bit. I don't know if you guys seen Antonio Cromartie Sr., which he also has a son, Antonio Cromartie Jr., on this team, but he's been very, very vocal on this team. This was after the Clemson game, and this is what he had to say. He said, "It's crazy how pathetic we look as a team and staff. There's a lot of front runners." Remember, this is his son's on the team. There's a lot of front runners and fake-ish going on at FSU. I'll keep saying it. We have a whole bunch of what can football do for me type of players. We need guys that actually love this game. He also said, as a coach, if it's your job to get the players ready to play physically, mentally, and emotionally, and play the ones that understand your plan, it's also your job to hire the right staff that will get your message across to the team, not have their own agenda and halfway out the door. Are we talking winning conference championships or national championships? Because I have 3 ACC championships and I didn't play my junior year. No natty, even though that was the only goal, which I was kind of alluding to earlier. The standard is the standard at Florida State. And that's reaching a national championship. He said, we want championships. And he said, in quote, we want championships here. And in quote, we will win championships here, in quote, are 2 different things. Players know if you're really about that or you're just talking. Got to have confidence that no matter what, we will find a way to win, scratching and clawing to a win. That's from Antonio Cromartie, the father of Antonio Cromartie Jr., who is on this team currently. I think that says quite a bit. I mean, we've heard from a couple of more recent former Noles, I think Robert Cooper and Kalen DeLoach. They've voiced their opinions on their podcast as well. I believe Edwin Joseph, after the Clemson game, posted a laughing emoji, and those 2 reacted to that on their podcast, as you probably thought they would, not being so happy with that. Did not think that was a laughing matter whatsoever. You're starting to see a lot of former Noles not so happy, gentlemen, and some that are very recent and actually were coached by Mike Norvell, with Robert Cooper and D'Lo and whoever else have tweeted out there. And then you've got guys that are FSU legends like Antonio Cromartie being pretty transparent. It's pretty interesting too to have his son actually on this team and being pretty transparent of how his thoughts are on this current staff.
Says a lot, but I mean, what really is there to be happy about at this point? We're trending towards the 4th time in 6 years that Florida State has failed to make a bowl game under Mike Norvell. Those 2 back-to-back double-digit win seasons are getting further and further away from the Seminoles. And I think, just going off of last year and seeing some of the same type of issues now pop up in these defeats where Florida State, might be the better team on the field, but they shoot themselves in the foot and essentially lose themselves the game, like we've seen multiple times now this year. It's just frustrating. It's the same thing in all these losses, and you can point to some of the other losses over the years too, where Florida State just practically killed itself in some of those games and beat themselves. And it's the same product at this point for 6 years, and I don't disagree with the fans and former players who are looking for changes.
I don't really have anything to add. Part of me with Cromartie is he's been angling for a spot on staff for what feels like a decade now. And I don't know if this comes from like anger of not being on the staff at this point. So it's hard for me to take him too seriously, but a lot of what he said, it does ring true. Mm-hmm. Like it's 6 years and there's still just no accountability and no discipline.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, we'll see what they can do on Saturday night, and we'll preview that here in just a little bit and give our score predictions. And they play well for the most part at home for the most part. But just some interesting thoughts, and I think you're just going to hear from more former Noles as it goes on. Hey, Derwin James is still saying Florida State on Sunday Night Football, so that's a good sign. Still feels strongly about his FSU team. Speaking of some former Noles, though, let's talk about some big NFL Noles stuff here. I don't know if you guys saw this, but I think you retweeted it, Dustin, but this video of Jared Verse and Tatum Bethune. So these two are facing off against each other. The LA Rams and the 49ers had their game this last weekend, and those two, even before the game began, they were actually chirping each other in press conferences after practices and talking trash to one another, saying, hey, man, that's my former teammate. We love each other, all that kind of stuff. But right now, when it comes to Sunday, it's all game. It's all game. And as expected between those two highly competitive guys, they had a little interaction on the during warmups in Santa Clara, which I thought was pretty funny to bring up here. Here's Jared Verse, and you know exactly what he's doing here. This is Jared. I mean, if anybody knows him well, definitely at practices and such, this guy is such an instigator. And here he is walking over to where Tatum Bethune is stretching the 49ers end zone, and Tatum's right here. and eyeing him down. And then Jared takes out the headphone, and they're going to talk it up. Something about blank blank on that blank boy. What's funny, though, it's two defensive guys, so they're not going to see each other on the field.
I know.
So they're kind of talking trash for each other. But Jared's still walking around, shoulders up high, still chirping 20 yards away. But who got the win out of that one? It was LA Rams, which almost they seem like unstoppable at the moment. Sean McVay, I mean, knew that defense was going to be special after last season and how their rookies played, and their front seven is nasty. But at the end of the day, though, Jared Verse gets the win over the 49ers, which is some cool stuff. Some quick notes on some former NFL Noles, though. Let's start off with Jameis Winston. That broke out today that he'd be the starting quarterback over Russell Wilson for the New York Giants, which they will be facing the Green Bay Packers. As we know, Jackson Dart dealing with a concussion, going through protocol there. I think he's had a few concussions, so he's going to have to sit out a good while. But Jameis is back starting. I swear, man, that's the most engagement we've had. We put out a Facebook post today, and it's got like 3 million views. There's just been so much love for Jameis on just across socials on him, and it's been cool to see him grow the fan base that he has. But we're going to have some exciting. I don't watch really Giants games as much, but now I will because of Jameis playing.
It's great to see him get that opportunity.
If there's ever a time to play the Packers too, it's right now because they look like just a mess. They've scored 7 points on Monday night against the Eagles, which yes, the Eagles are a good team, but they're kind of floundering this year. The Packers have lost to the Browns and the Panthers and then score 7 points on Monday Night Football. Right now is absolutely the time you want to play that team.
That defense is still looking good, though. I think they've only given up 26 total points the last 2 games, ranked top 10 in the league in total defense and scoring defense. Obviously, Micah Parsons seems like he's starting to find his rhythm a little bit now in Green Bay. So almost feels like the Giants are throwing Jameis to the Wolves a little bit here. I mean, heck, can we ever get this guy an opportunity at a good spot? Dang.
Especially because Malik Neighbors tore his ACL. Scatter's ankles still facing the wrong way.
Yeah, and with the Browns, he had no one to throw the football to as well there. But
he doesn't now either.
He was still able to beat me with the Steelers last year in the snow, which was if I'm going to lose, I'd be fine with losing to Jameis. But that's actually going to be in MetLife, so the fan base should be pretty excited to see Jameis out there. They have a couple quarterbacks, mainly I would say. I mean, Russell's still likable, but a little corny and such. But Jackson Dart was very much loved, and he's having a pretty strong rookie year. I feel like he has a strong, bright future. Also, too, this is gonna be their first game with an interim head coach because they just got rid of Brian Dable. So it's gonna be a new home game for them all around with a new quarterback and an interim head coach. So that's gonna be pretty interesting to be tuned in for that one. Then also, too, a name that everybody knows but probably hasn't heard a ton of as of late, DeMarcus Walker just found a new home, and it is with the Washington Commanders, which Washington Commanders not having a great season whatsoever, and that defense needs a lot of help. They should have gotten a pass rusher better. They should have done better in the offseason in the pass rush position, but DeMarcus Walker is headed to the Washington Commanders, and he also had a pretty decent tenure with the Chicago Bears as well. I was kind of surprised they let him slide.
But they traded for Montez Sweat last year, and then they signed the guy from Indy who I'd try to I would butcher his name if I tried it right now. Yeah. Like they added to the position, and even though D-Walk played well for them, I understood it. But now the guy that they signed is hurt, and Sweat really hasn't played that well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and it has been surprising to me. He hasn't gotten any opportunities since being released by Chicago back in February. Had a couple workouts, visited with a few teams during the offseason, but wasn't picked up anywhere. And now obviously has lasted pretty deep into the second half of this NFL season. Going to have a couple games to showcase his talents with the Washington Commanders. on the practice squad right now, but I would imagine he gets elevated to the active roster in the near future. Like you said, Logan, I mean, Washington really needs some help on defense, especially up front and off the edge. I mean, they've been really banged up, lost multiple starters to season-ending injuries. So it wouldn't surprise me if a guy like DeMarcus Walker, who provides a decent pass rush threat, had a career year for Chicago in 2024, can instantly make an impact for them.
Hope he got his passport, man. They're over there in Madrid, Spain for this weekend, facing off Sunday morning on our time against the Miami Dolphins, who just upset and had a major upset against the Buffalo Bills.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully we'll see if he gets elevated. I would not be shocked if he did, because I mean, like we said, that defense is in some pretty rough trouble. I believe Dan Quinn's taken over the play calling there as well on the defensive side. So woo, not pretty whatsoever. And then one last note, another defender, former Nole, Asante Samuel, heading over to my Pittsburgh Steelers. He was injured last year, also had to do a lot of recovery as well to get back and being able to play again. But he recently got cleared and then went through a handful of visits. And then he has ended up signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers, which I'm really excited for. Got Jalen Ramsey now. I got Asante Samuel Jr. We'll see how he does, if he can get elevated there as well. As the secondary is a little dinged up there. But Asante Samuel, I like that pickup a ton, and I thought that he had a pretty strong start to his career with the LA Chargers. And I'm all about it. Sign me up, baby. I love me some Asante Samuel Jr., man.
I still remember that playoff game a couple years ago where he had like 3 interceptions in the same 4 interceptions. I mean, a crazy performance in the postseason. And maybe like hasn't blossomed into the most consistent player throughout his career, but has still had flashes here and there. Obviously, a former second-round pick. That injury really derailed his 2024 campaign. So now that he's back healthy, maybe he can make a couple plays for your team, Logan.
Mm-hmm. I would like that. If only he could play wide receiver for me. That would be certainly awesome. I've blocked out what happened this last Sunday night. I always enjoy Sunday night football, definitely when the Steelers are on there. But that was atrocious. That wasn't even a football game. And that was so depressing. Don't remind me. I'm going to go into a slump here and be depressed. But one thing not to be depressed about, gentlemen, this is a phenomenal transition, is Luke Laux and this FSU basketball team. Now, they did not get the win last night against UF. If you guys didn't see it, they lost by 2 points. I believe, 78-76, right, Easy?
Yep.
It was a fun game to watch. It was a battle between both teams. At some point, FSU went down a good little bit. Then they were able to climb back. And then you had some big plays being made. And all throughout it, it felt like FSU was in it, and certainly felt like momentum was swinging in their favor. Certainly when they were at UF, they were building the momentum out of more than UF was. And to me, like I said earlier, and like I tweeted, I felt like a lot of boxes were checked from this team. And, for a team that relies on their shooting, it wasn't so great last night. VZ will probably give a lot better of a deeper dive on that. But for it to still be that close against the reigning national champions, I think the future seems bright. Easy.
Yeah, we're 30 minutes in. We're talking about Florida State basketball. Times are changing, if you know this podcast.
One ACC win in football will do it to you, man. We might as well talk some basketball.
Yeah, you kind of nailed it on the head. Florida State shot just 9 of 34 from 3 in that game, 26%. If you had told me they were going to shoot that badly going into the game, I would have thought they lost by 15 or 20 pretty easily. And Florida was favored by, I think the final line ended up being 18.5 heading into this game. And that line made sense because Florida's just done really well against Alabama the last few years. And that's the best kind of stylistic matchup that you can have for Florida State, is the way Alabama plays. And Florida just played against them so well the last few years. What Florida State did really, really well was they said, okay, we're going to sell out. Or really, I should credit both teams. Both teams had phenomenal defensive game plans and really forced the other out of what they wanted to do on offense. Florida State said, we are going to trap, we're going to blitz, we're going to throw so many different defenses at you to try and get you to shoot a quick 3. And that happened a lot. Florida shot, I think, 31 threes in this game off the top of my head, only made 5 of them, I think. Is about 19%. That's exactly what you want out of that Florida team, because they can't shoot. They just don't have natural shooters. And on the flip side, Florida said, we are not going to let you shoot 3s. They did a lot to sell out and contest 3s. Now, Florida State was still taking them. They ended up taking, like I said, 34 of them. but there weren't many clean looks.
Mhm.
In the first half, Robert McCray was getting to the basket and he'd either turn it over or throw up a bad shot at the rim. Wasn't really a great first half from Robert McCray, and you're dealing with Leger Jones, who had foul trouble all game, and yet they still went into halftime up 40-37, which you're looking at that going, if Robert McCray has a good second half and Leger can stay out of foul trouble, Florida State can get out of here with a win. McCray definitely picked up in that second half, ended up scoring 21 points there in that second half. He was really Florida State's only productive player in that second half. The issue is no one else could pick up the slack. They were super cold from three. I think they only made 4 threes there in the second half. And there was an 11-0 run from Florida with about, from 7 minutes to 5 minutes remaining. And that kind of took the wind out of the sails for a lot of people. But they still almost had a chance to win. That's the crazy part about it. If Leger Jones, when he checks back in the game, they drew up a 3 for him. As soon as he came in, he was wide open at the top of the key, missed it. Robert McCray missed the second free throw that could have tied a game, and then McCray again missed a shot in the corner that would have tied it. Florida State had their chances to win, and for me, that's good enough. I know there's supposed to be no such thing as moral victories, but Florida just won a national championship last year. This is game 3 of year 1 for a new head coach in Luke Laux, who has never coached in college basketball. To go into that environment and to not shoot well, you're kind of dealing with foul trouble. To only lose that game by 2, I am super pleased with, honestly.
And I loved the fight, the effort this team showed on the road, nearly a 20-point underdog against the defending national champions, like we've talked about. And, I mean, they fought for 40 minutes in that building. And like you kind of talked about, Austin, even when Florida went on some of those runs and it seemed like the Gators were going to break the game open, FSU battled back and made it close and had a couple chances there to tie this one late in regulation. And like you said, I mean, new coaching staff, you've only got 2 players back on this roster from the season
by the way,
ago.
played a total of 4 minutes in this game. Swinton's still suspended someone, and they just don't trust Alir Malouk right now to stay out of foul trouble. So basically, everybody that played was completely new.
It's a brand new team. This is your 3rd regular season game. You had 2 exhibition games. So, I mean, this team is still learning how to play with one another. And, we've seen some really promising signs from Florida State through 3 games. And this team, as they learn, they should only get better and better, as the season progresses. And, it looks like Florida State, where they were ranked in the preseason ACC poll, they're going to finish a lot higher if they play like they did last night.
And not even that. Coming into the season, they were the lowest ranked team on KenPom across Power 5 conferences, if you include the Big East. Dead last. They were 96th in total, but out of every Power Conference team, they were dead last. They've already passed 18 of those teams. Like they're climbing pretty quick because they're starting to see what this team can really do. To me, the defense was the most surprising thing from last night because, Florida's a good team, and I think Florida turned it over 18 or 19 times last night. Now, yes, the rebounding was a massive differential. Florida out-rebounded Florida State by 22. That was more personnel than it was anything. But Florida State had more second chance points on offensive rebounds, which is crazy to me. Like, Florida had that massive size advantage. They only had 8 second chance points in that game. To me, that's a win. If you're going to give up that kind of rebounding differential, as long as you're not giving up second chance points, it's going to help you a lot. Now, yes, there's a mental thing to it when you're playing 3 defensive possessions in a row. There's obviously a mental thing to that, but nothing but pleased with that game. Honestly, it would have been great to win it. It would have been the greatest day of my life between Nico Harrison getting fired and Florida State.
You would have had a great, phenomenal 48 hours, man.
It would have been not even 48. It would have been an amazing 12 hours.
Yeah,
like that would have been pretty great. But still very pleased with where the team is. They're going to pick somebody off that they're not supposed to, whether that's Texas A&M or Georgia at home. I think could be a fun one, or even if it's Dayton on the road, they're going to pick off somebody that they're not supposed to. And they can make some noise in the ACC just because the ACC is kind of the ACC, where there's a lot of middling teams and a lot of bad teams like Georgia Tech and Boston College. So they can make some noise, I think.
This is very self-composed coach. Like, I was just trying to, this is my first game really to get an actual friggin' stream. I was sitting there too at Publix. You'll be proud of me, VZ. I was watching this game and the pub sub line. Like, I was that invested trying to see what Luke Laux had in the squad, but just looking at his composure he's kind of seeing what his team was going to do in these situations, and he wasn't having to be so vocal. Yes, when you got over to the side of the court, yes, very hands on and such, but kind of just seeing how his team was going to react to things and how they were going to respond as well. And you could tell this was just a big time learning segment for him on trying to understand what his team is as a whole. And that was really good. And like Dustin said, the fight, the response, coming back down there in the second half and saying, hey, we can come back and try to still win this game on the road, dealing with the environment, which VZ, you put a tweet out, said that arena sucks. The fan
I didn't
base
say
there
that.
Sucks. The Gators fan sucks, which, they did go viral for one of the most god awful cringe videos I've ever seen in my lifetime of them doing, what was that, Cardi B?
I don't even remember.
That.
I've tried to erase that video from my memory.
That's something that needs to be deleted from everybody's mind. Awful video. Awful. Should be sent. I could use that as a terrorist thing. You just don't want to don't want to watch that for more than 10 seconds. Your brain will flatten. But yeah, again, not getting a lot of love back from the Florida fan base after you threw out your tweet.
My exact words was that Florida has the lamest student section that I've seen, and that is a fact. Like, that student section is lame. A lot of lame people.
Well, like, what is
like,
it like the?
It's the rowdy reptiles. They sit courtside, or they're not even technically courtside. They sit kind of like a section up on the sideline. Just a bunch of lame people. That's all I got for you. And I've been lucky to go to a lot of amazing college basketball venues between Kentucky and Indiana and Duke and Carolina and all these other places across college basketball. Florida students are just lame. I don't have another way to put it. It's just a lame fan base. And I tweeted that before the game, just speaking from past experience. And Florida fans haven't been very happy in my replies and quote tweets and DMs. And they're only proving my point when the people that have Abbeys are like 300-pound white guys with grills. Like, you're only kind of proving my point here. I'm not saying you're a bad basketball team. I agree, you're a good basketball team. Like, I'm not disputing that we've lost 5 in a row. My whole point is that you're a lame fan base and a lame student section. You're only proving my point.
Do you think maybe they've improved since 2017?
No, absolutely not. Because there were some Florida fans that said like 15 years ago it was great. Now, I kind of agree with you. There were some Florida fans saying that.
Mm-hmm. Well, for context, if you're new here, because we do have a lot of new listeners this year, but Visa, you're a manager.
Yeah, I was a manager for the team, and we played down there. I don't think I've told this whole story on this podcast. We played down there in Florida in this. It was November, December of 2017. Florida was ranked 5th. We were unranked despite coming off a pretty good season, but we lost a lot of pieces. Like Dwayne Bacon went to the league. XRM went to the league. Michael Ojo, rest in peace, he graduated. John Isaac went to the league. Like, there was a lot of pieces that were gone, but we still had a really good team. We ended up making the Elite 8 that year, and we're 2 possessions away from making a Final Four. We were a good team that year. Just people didn't know it at the time. Coach Gates and Coach CY were very confident we were going to go down there and win that game, and we won that game. We beat them by 17, I think it was. I originally wasn't even supposed to go, and then I get a call in class saying, "Hey, Coach Hamilton left something on his desk. Can you grab it and bring it down here?" I'm like, "Right now?" Like, yeah. Like, okay, sure enough. And went to that game. It was awesome. One of the more fun environments I've been in, because we were on that ass from the start. Great celebration in the locker room afterwards. I'm 1-0 in that arena. People say, "Oh, you're a manager. What'd you do?" I was in that arena, part of the team. I'm 1-0.
Yeah. Yeah. I enjoyed the tweet. I love it. I think it's fun. I mean,
I did get some good laughs out of some of those tweets.
Absolutely. I'm sure you did.
I did. I wanted to clap back at a lot of them, but you said, you know what? They can have it.
I'll tell you what, though, this class coming in for FSU basketball is something to be very excited about. I know that there was a comment on here from one of our YouTube members saying that Florida had a 7-2 center on the court. Well, FSU's got a Baby Shaq. Florida State has Baby Shaq on the way for them. And if anybody, I know we've played his highlights whenever he committed to Florida State, But man, this dude is absolutely a gigantic monster, and he's slimmed down a little bit too, as well. Because I've just been keeping up with some of his stuff on content wise. But Marcise Ponder, is that correct?
I think it's just Marcus Ponder.
Okay, Marcus Ponder.
Yeah, he's listed at 328 on 247. I think he's finally closer to that 305, 310 mark right about now. But he's, we've talked about a few times, he is a massive human being.
Yeah.
The issue with people this size is they're not always fundamentally sound because they're just so used to overpowering people. When you're 7 feet, basically 320 pounds, you're just used to overpowering people. That's not always going to work. And that's why the Baby Shaq comparisons in the last 20 years haven't always worked out, because they're just not fundamentally sound. They don't have the technique to last in college basketball and eventually the NBA. The thing that impresses me about Ponder more than anything outside the size is he's really athletic for someone his size. He covers ground super well. He's got good vertical. Like, he has every single tool you could want for someone his size, but it's going to take some time for the fundamentals to get into place. But rebounding was an issue last night. It shouldn't be an issue with Ponder in the middle. That's for sure.
Not with that guy.
No, that's going to be fun. And the other two as well that signed today.
Yeah, Colin Paul signed today, 6'6", 6'7". Wayne from Florida.
Bye.
That's really good with the ball in his hands. The 3-point shot is going to take time to develop, but for someone of his size that can really handle like that and get downhill like that, I think it's going to be an interesting addition to Luke Laux' system. And then the last one, Brandon Paul Jr. out of Windermere Prep, obviously the son of 12-year NBA veteran Brandon Bass, played for the Magic, Celtics, Mavericks, Lakers, Clippers. I hope I'm not missing any teams there. Good NBA career, and his son plays absolutely nothing like him because his son is a 6'4" left-handed, really, really good shooter. Like, shot, I'm forgetting the exact numbers off the top of my head, but he was shooting like 55% on catch and shoot threes in AAU play last year, over 40% in general on threes. Just a really, really good shooter. And Laux seems to like these lefties because between McRae and Martin Somerville, now you got Brandon Bass Jr. coming to town. He likes these lefties, and they seem to be playing pretty well.
D-Lee, you going to make it over to the Tuck soon?
Tuesday night.
Tuesday.
I'm excited. Brandon Bass Jr.
Yeah. I was going to say Tuesday's going to be Coach Hamilton night because they're playing UT Martin. That's where Coach Hamilton went. They're going to do a little recognition for Coach Ham there. I'm really excited to see that. And UT Martin's a weird team. I'll talk about that in my preview article, but they're an interesting team. But long story short, I was looking at their KenPom. Their first 10 players on there were all Europeans. I'm like, oh God.
Oh wow. Got some Europeans coming over from
Just
overseas.
All Europeans. Their entire team. It's crazy.
Dustin's
looking at me confused. I was just as confused when I was looking at it.
That's crazy. Well, let's keep moving here. VZ will have all tons of coverage over there at NoleGameday.com, but we've got to make some picks here for Florida State and Virginia Tech. Shout out to our friends over at Sleeper. It's time to sleep, but let's wake up first and then go back to sleep. Let's make some picks here because we were 2 of 3, man. We were 2 of 3. Why didn't we give it to Sawchuck, man? Why didn't we give it to Saw? Well, we had a fumble, I guess.
Should have let the Sawchuck.
Well, Singleton for that one.
Man, we were there. We had Cade Klubnik under on passing yards, which we did hit. We had Tommy with the over or with the more on his passing, and then we also had Gavin Sawchuck anytime, but that did not hit. So 2 of 3. We got to do better. I mean, it's on us. We've got to respond. Time to #respond.
Let's climb.
It's time to climb. Time to climb and climb into those pockets.
But Sawchuck had 1 carry against Clemson.
It's pretty disappointing.
How is that possible?
Oh Lordy, it's got to be Samuel Singleton time.
I know Mike was watching the episode and he's like, "All right, fine, no Sawchuck this week."
Oh yeah, he's definitely.
He said, "Screw your money."
Now I definitely feel like it because he only gave me a 1-word answer.
Like, y'all want to talk about my job? Fine.
Yeah, there we go.
Have fun with you losing money, dorks.
Yeah, losers. That's got to be Sam's got to get to the end zone. I like this 2 times 2.39. on the more.
Well, let's start with taking the less on Virginia Tech's running back, who does not have a touchdown this year. That first one. It's that first top left. Doesn't have a single touchdown this year.
On Terrion Stewart. And go less on him. God, his more is 3.26 because he hasn't scored all season.
Yeah. 63 carries, 395 yards, no rushing touchdowns, no receiving touchdowns either.
Wow. A lot of these for FSU are just we've got anytime touchdowns. It's going to be mainly we have no Tommy passing. We don't have rushing yards in here as well. We've got kick points and anytime touchdowns. Welcome to FSU versus Virginia Tech 2025, ladies and gentlemen.
I feel like we have to put Weinberg in there just because he's there. I don't care which way we go.
That's 3 field goals.
Or it's 2 field goals and 2 extra points. Which I don't feel terrible about, I'll be honest.
Yeah, you don't feel terrible, but you don't feel good about it. That's what makes me scared. If you felt good, then I'd maybe lean that way, but you just made me feel like you're a little nervous about it. Who's going to score a touchdown?
If you're going to ask me, I would say more. For Jake Weinberg points.
I'm just worried FSU might score.
He shanked one.
Too many touchdowns.
Not even close. It went to the students. It went to the tunnel.
But what if it's like that Wake game where they're just scoring?
Yeah, but that was just 6 extra points.
Exactly. You wouldn't get there.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a fun one, though. I like it.
Yeah, but winning cash is fun. Could that equal Jake Weinberg getting the kicks for us? Or could it be Samuel Singleton also, too, reaching the end zone? It would have to be Deuce or Singleton for a touchdown.
Virginia Tech's giving up like 30 points a game. So there could be some points here.
What about a LeWay McCoy redemption touchdown? Because his more is 4.3 times.
Woo! My goodness.
I don't like it, but
yeah, it's scary.
Now that he had one last week, I would lean now.
So where are we? We're going to go Deuce here. We're going to go Deuce anytime touchdown. Is that where we're feeling? Is he going to get in the end zone again?
He got robbed of the one against Clemson, so.
Yeah, it was like a backwards. He was trying to reach it there. I understand why they didn't, but that whole reffing was awful anyway.
They didn't even review it, though. I was like,
I think it's the correct call, though.
Mm-hmm.
When you slow it down enough.
When you slow it down enough, it still moves when it hits the ground.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the 2-point conversion one though from Clemson, no, that was not a conversion.
That one I was.
Nicholson
I know they
actually
said
made
they
a
looked
play
at
there.
it, but I don't know about that one.
Deuce has to get back in the end zone here. I mean, he's got to start racking up some things for some NFL scouts. And plus, Tommy probably wants to come back, have a response game, #respond. Come on.
They normally make some big plays through the air at home.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't hate that.
Okay. Wait, I can't. Whoa. Oh, is it because of the touchdowns and they're going to add in the extra points in there?
That's dumb.
Oh, this is tough. Wait, so if we pick him, oops. Does that take away? Oh, we got to go
dumb. What is that?
Well, wait, can we go over here? What is Virginia Tech? How do we There's
pretty much
I
all
hope
the
Aiden Green doesn't get a touchdown with Aiden Green. There's no way Aiden Green's getting in the end zone. I've not even seen Aiden Green play a football game.
Aiden Green's got 2 touchdowns on the year, has 24 total catches for 382 yards. The other option we can take the less on is Tacky Heath.
Tacky Heath.
Listen, man. He has 18 catches for 173 yards, but 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, so he can be more of a threat reaching the end zone.
Do we just take less on all Virginia Tech players?
There's no way Drones is hitting both of them, right? No. We got. I think Aiden because he's 1.25, and then
that's fine.
Heath is only 1.2.
That's fine.
Y'all really want to do Jake in here? You think he's going to respond to?
We've lost everyone since the first week. We might as well do something fun.
No, we won one.
Yeah, we won 2. We won
When
2.
was the second one?
We won 1. I think that you weren't with us
Oh,
on.
that makes sense.
Easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
makes
we're
sense.
2, and we won't talk about our record. All right. We were, if y'all think it, man, his less is actually more. I really don't think Singleton's going to get in there. Well, we haven't even done.
The running back rotation is so who knows. Like,
oh, actually, we don't. Do we think Deuce or Jake more? Deuce or more?
Deuce.
What do we think? Yeah,
probably Deuce.
Okay. I
Deuce
think we
is
have
probably
to
the
go Deuce.
safer bet. If
Probably
Jake ends up
so.
getting 9 points, I'm gonna be lighting on fire.
Yep.
On
I think
Saturday.
we have a boost here. Oh, we do have a boost. 20% profit boost. Shout out to Sleeper here. Okay. $5, 18. That's a good Whataburger meal right there. We'll take that. All right, we did it. We did it. We got Deuce Robinson anytime touchdown. We also have Stewart for Virginia Tech, less than a touchdown. He's not going to reach the end zone.
No one our luck.
Green.
He's going to have a 3 touchdown game. No touchdowns for the first 9 games.
Some kind of crazy thing will happen to us. And then, Green won't reach the end zone. Tony White's defense is going to step up here. It's not going to be easy to face them at all. But yeah, shout out to Sleeper. Appreciate them for sponsoring this episode. Get a 100% match off your first deposit up to $100. Use that code down below as you see at the bottom of your screen. Use code Noles right there. Like I say, I use this stuff even for just alerts throughout the week, certainly for fantasy stuff, but the alerts come right away. So then you can be ahead on your fantasies in front of everybody else. But like I said, use that promo code Noles down below. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. Hopefully those win, man. We need a win. We need to get back in that win column, gentlemen. We really do. All right, it's time to talk Florida State, Virginia Tech, and get our score predictions as well. Florida State comes into this game 13.5-point favorites. It's at home. It's at 7:30 kickoff. Another night game for the Seminoles here. And Virginia Tech is not that great. They're 2-3 in conference play. They're 12th place in the ACC, 3-6 record. Not saying that Florida State is much of any better, but just putting it out there of what kind of opponent Florida State is going to be facing at home. And Florida State is a big time favorite here. First off, I'll ask you guys, how do you feel about the Vegas odds there? 13.5-point favorite.
Just shows me they think Florida State's going to play well at home. I mean, that's kind of been the story of the season for FSU. They played better at home than on the road. Obviously, the losses to Miami and Pittsburgh, but defeated Alabama. But obviously, the last time they were out there in Doak, blew out Wake Forest 42-7. Who knows what this team's going to do on Saturday night?
Yeah, it could go. It's a weird line. Like I think Tommy put in our chat. He's like, Florida State's favored by 2 touchdowns, and you're like, well, it's at home, and they just beat Wake 42-7, who just beat Virginia. So it is a kind of good home team. Obviously, the Pitt and the Miami losses were what they were, but for the most part, Florida State has played better at home. Especially the defense. They're only allowing, I think, 16 points per game at home compared to on the road. They're allowing 30. So I just think being at home is a big reason for that line.
Their wins this season for Virginia Tech, Wofford, where they won 38-6.
Wofford, get it right.
Wofford, my bad. I was thinking about John Wolford.
I know. Shout out Bishop Kenny legend.
That's right. That's where you went to school, right?
Yeah, I had a few classes with him.
Yeah. See, there you go. You still keep up to date with him, see what he's doing,
No.
connected?
We might be friends on Facebook. That's it.
Anyways, also beat NC State 23-21 at NC State.
Yep, must be nice.
We'll see if Florida State can do that next Friday night. And then, of course, they beat Cal 42-34. But like you guys said, this team allows a good amount of points, and Florida State just depends on the offense and how it is, what kind of day or night it is. If they want to score, they can. But Florida State's got a lot of things they've got to clean up, man. Starts up top with Tommy Castellanos. They've got to he's got to play better. He's got to play better. And of course, yes, his skill guys have got to catch the ball. They got to execute. Definitely got to take care of those opportunities because, stat lines, once again, Florida State usually outdoes their opponents on that, and they've got to do a better job putting points on the board in this game nonetheless. Really going to be interesting to see how this offense responds and if they can do things well, because as per usual, this offense is really predicated around, taking those shots with Deuce Robinson, or if it's Squirrel White, and Tommy has not been able to connect with Squirrel White. And that was one of your biggest additions to the transfer portal. And that just has not been the case whatsoever for this offense. And Samuel Singleton is now your starting running back. And did not kind of have that expectation at all. Kind of came at a surprise after that bye week, gentlemen. But some things got to be fixed there on the offensive side of the ball, and you got to hope Florida State can put some points up. And this should be a team that you should beat. But I think all of us on here, it's still it just depends on how they want to come play, how they want to come play at the end of the day.
Yeah, a lot of stuff for Florida State to clean up going into this game. And, I'm wondering, are you going to get the type of effort that you saw from this team coming out of the bye week and going into that Wake Forest game? Or are you going to get the team that was defeated by Virginia on the road and then went into that Miami matchup and got absolutely dominated, and follow that up with a loss to Pittsburgh where they were beaten pretty badly in the second half? It just depends which Florida State team that shows up, because I think it really comes down to the self-inflicted mistakes, the penalties, the turnovers, the drops. That's what's killed Florida State in the losses. If they're able to execute at a higher level, which sounds pretty obvious on paper, then they're going to have a good chance of winning this one against Virginia Tech and winning it pretty handily. The Hokies, not a great football team, but Florida State has lost to worse this season already. And Tech has been, more competitive since they fired Brent Pry after that 0-3 start, 3-3 since then. They have lost 3 of their last 4 games, but they've had a bye week and they've had some time to focus in on this game in Tallahassee. So we'll have to see how Virginia Tech comes out.
And also those losses were to Wake Forest, who is pesky, at least. And then the other 2 losses were to Georgia Tech and Louisville, who are legitimately good teams. To me, it's going to come down to run defense more than anything, because for the last 5 games, Virginia Tech has more rushing yards than they do passing yards. This is a team that wants to run the football, and when you have someone like Kyron Jones, that's just how it goes. Their last game against Louisville, Jones had 76 passing yards. 76. Like this is just a team that wants to run the football, and if Florida State's linebackers specifically can't keep him contained and keep the running backs contained, this could be a long game.
To your point, sorry, Logan, Virginia Tech, 110 or more rushing yards in every game this season. They've had 2 over 200. And then that game against Cal, that double overtime win, they had 357 rushing yards. So shutting them down at the point of attack and making drones put it in the air and forcing them to beat FSU that way, that's going to be the game plan for the Seminoles, I think.
And just as a whole, they're averaging nearly 5 yards per carry. They haven't been below 4 yards per carry since the first 2 games of the year. Like, this is just a really good running football team.
I was going to mention too, we saw James Williams. He was warming up before the Clemson game, and then also too, Javon Boggs was out there with the first team going through 11 on 11. Which is a good sign that I think you'll see Javon Boggs, which, maybe that will help that wide receiver room out a little bit more. I mean, he was named a starter going into the season. That injury hurt him, and it's been a long recovery back for him to get back fully healthy, but it seems like he'll come back, and you'll probably have James Williams too off the edge. Not saying that that's going to be much of a game changer there for you. It has not been for you all season. I think the biggest one will be seeing if Javon Boggs is a full go, gentlemen. That would certainly, hopefully, maybe help out that offense because he was obviously clicking very well with Tommy Castellanos going into the season. They saw that in spring and fall camp, and anything that could help that room, help that wide receiver room would be nice, because I know Lawayne McCoy has stepped up for you, and then
stepped up is crazy.
Stepped up to be a starter for you.
Okay, sure.
That's all I can say. But
I think he's got like 300. He's got like 300 yards.
Yeah,
third leading receiver.
Yeah, not too bad for you. Not too bad. But things just, they had all these opportunities in the world against Clemson. They just were not taking
close enough
advantage of. Oh, 230?
Yeah.
Dang. Dealer, you getting some NIL, like something for that, giving him some juice and some love on here?
Well, I guess
Getting cut?
maybe I'm dyslexic and thought it was 320
Yeah,
or 230. I don't know.
Yeah,
mean,
but like when you're the third leading receiver, 230 yards. Like, come on, man.
Still time to play. Still 3 games.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bump those numbers up.
Yeah. But yeah, that's got to be, to me, a response from Tommy. We'll see how he tries to and responds in this one. And he said that he's fully healthy. He told us that after the Clemson game. Like, he was saying, I think that Clemson thought that I wasn't fully healthy. I couldn't run the ball and such. And he told us, I feel perfectly fine. It is kind of questionable sometimes, though, where he does have a lot of green ahead of him and he will just pull off to the sideline. And I understand as a quarterback, you want to be safe in that way, but you came in, my man, to run the ball. You're a dual threat guy. You're more favoring of a guy on the ground. I think FSU fans would rather you run, man. Definitely when there's a lot of space ahead of you. That's where it kind of becomes questionable if he is fully healthy, which I do think. I mean, he was moving around just fine in warmups and such. And we saw him run that ball around a few times. But getting him going on the ground and utilizing those legs is what you brought him in for to do with this offense. And, you got to run like a running back. And I don't know. We'll see how he decides to respond. It has to be that type of game. If it's not, then you are going to see a lot of shouts for Kevin Sperry on that sideline.
You sure do like saying respond a lot. Are you Mike Norvell?
Dude,
he's ingrained in
he's
our
got
heads.
me.
Like,
Mike got me. Mike got me. After listening to all these press conferences, man, it's like Norvell respond brain rot I've got right now, not TikTok brain rot or
Norvell brain rot.
I've got Norvell respond brain rot in my head. Can't get
I do think Tommy is thinking about taking those hits a little bit more than maybe he was at the beginning of the season, where he was just playing free and allowing his game to do the talking. I don't know if it's in the back of his head a little bit, like, hey, I don't want to take a big hit here or there. But especially in that Clemson game, there was I think it was a 3rd down and short, and he went to scramble. It looked like he could have powered for a 1st down, but he decided to step out of bounds. So I think we're seeing more.
I think it was like 2nd and 2, and it ended up being 3rd and 2.
We're seeing more of him going east and west instead of north and south, and maybe potentially taking a slide or something like that, which, he did try and do that in the Stanford game and then took an illegal hit, which gave him a concussion. So maybe he's just having some second thoughts on how to protect his body out there, since he has dealt with a couple of things this season. But either way, Florida State just needs him to get back to being him. And then defensively, I mean, really looking at the status of Jabril Rawls, who was forced to exit the first half of that Clemson game. Mike Norvell, didn't provide much of an update on Monday, just kind of said it's going to be a big week for Jabril, and the first ACC availability report will be coming out on Thursday evening. So definitely something we'll be monitoring, along with Williams and Boggs and some of those other guys who have been out recently or dealing with injuries.
Especially because Rawls has been their best run supporting corner. Like, Jerry can't tackle. We've established that. You need Jabril out there for a game like this.
Yeah. Just reminded me about that. Man, and I was so happy and pulling for Jerry, because I thought that was one of your strongest additions that you brought in through the transfer portal. But it's bad. That's bad. And I had to bring that up to Mike too as well, but that just wasn't going to be a great response probably either on that.
Nothing was going to be a great response.
I don't think there was going to be. But yeah, that was bad. That was bad against Clemson. Just first missed tackle, then the next play, just kind of not wanting to be out there to go make a tackle and having the safety come down and make that tackle for you. Just not a good look, and that's why I got taken off the field. But Jerry's got to hashtag respond. He's got to respond this upcoming weekend. We'll see what ends up happening. Team's got to respond. Team has to.
Can we find another word?
What is another word?
Bounce back.
Retaliate.
Bounce back. Retaliate, but then that could be like violent,
They need to be violent.
Yeah.
We've been waiting for them to be violent for 2 years.
Hey, LaWayne McCoy's throwing punches. There's some retaliation happening. There's retaliation. Score predictions. Let's go and get them in. Everybody's ready. Also, too, if you're in the chat, throw them down. Let's see what we got. Let's see where we're at. I think it's my turn.
It is. You're up.
Yeah. I've got Florida State winning this game. I got Florida State winning this one. I've got them winning 31-14 in Doak Campbell Stadium. I think the offense will get back going. Tommy cleans up a few things, which will be great. I think it's going to be a slow start, though. I think it's going to be slow, but the things start clicking, kind of like what we saw a few weeks ago against Wake Forest. But probably in that second quarter, Florida State starts finding its groove offensively. But I think you see this team retaliate. They're going to retaliate, and I'd like to see Daryl Jackson get a sack. I'm going to have a bold prediction here. Crazy prediction. Daryl Jackson, sack in this game. That's about all I've got, gentlemen. That's all I can give you.
You know another word for respond? Or not even a word.
I'm Googling synonyms right now.
Here's one. Turn around. Florida State is going to do the hokey pokey, turn themselves around, and get a win. 34-20.
34-20. Hokey pokey. God. We're heading into some weird and scary and wild territory that we're at right now. I tell you what, like going from 2024 then going to this, man, your brain has to like.
I gotta make myself laugh, man. Like there's nothing there's nothing else good going on.
No. But we come on here, we do our job, and we have a good time doing it. This is fun still at the end of the day, but the team might not be fun, but we still have a good time, right, Dustin?
Yeah.
You don't like coming on here and hanging out and talking about one conference win?
He'd rather be eating Whataburger right now.
I'd rather be watching the Celtics game right now.
Oh, dang. That is true. Sorry about that.
But as Austin just showed you guys, he's such a great person. Really love spending time with him. Very, very nice. Very respectful to others. Loves Florida fans.
Oh, yeah. Now you're siding with the Florida Gator fans?
That's crazy.
You're like, yeah, we know. Have fun with that guy. This guy sucks.
So, I kind of get it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. This man hosting his house for 3 nights. Like,
yeah, that is true. Dustin's like reading those Florida Gator tweets and like just smiling, loving it. He's even liking them.
He's liking them from a burner account.
Yeah.
Well, now you can bookmark, and I don't think anyone can see your bookmarks. So
it's true. Yeah.
Bookmarks and likes.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the bookmarks you can't even see at all, but the likes, VZ couldn't even tell.
I should probably make my score prediction, though, huh?
Yeah, come on. Let's have some fun here. Yeah, about time. Let's go and get it done.
I've got Florida State bouncing back on Saturday night. Like Logan said, I think it's going to be close early on. I think that really the big thing for Florida State is they're not that good at playing from behind, especially when those deficits get towards that double-digit point. Like we saw against Clemson, it just makes FSU change their whole offensive game plan, go to the air a lot more than relying on the ground, which is the true strength of this offense for Florida State. So I think that's the key, is just keeping the score manageable. And I'm going to say the Seminoles run away with this one in the second half. Florida State 37, Virginia Tech 20.
Okay. All right. Now, if Florida State were to lose this game, because we're all three predicting them to win, what would that do to Norvell?
Absolutely nothing.
It'd make him need to respond.
People are going to hate this episode tonight. I mean, well, we're just saying what Mike Norvell tells us.
They weren't over it from all the response jokes. They were over it by the hokey pokey joke.
Yeah, that one probably ended. All right, cut it off there. I'm just wondering, because I know like a lot of people are like, oh, this one's going to do it. Well, I think we all thought that was going to do it against Stanford. If it didn't happen against Stanford, I just don't know if that's going to happen this year at all. I mean, you could go 0-3 these next 3 games, or I guess 0-4 after your last win against Wake Forest, but I don't know if that's going to change much, if that's going to do anything for Mike, and you move on from him there. I think the plan is in place.
If they were to lose 4 straight, then I think that says it all. If you don't make the bowl game, it's going to be really, really hard to justify keeping this thing going. And I mean, it's already hard to justify it even if you get to 6-6 and somehow make a bowl game. Going to be a lot of pressure coming from the fan base, and it's going to be a long off season for Florida State. A lot of noise.
Mm-hmm. Like I was telling you over the phone earlier, though, today, Dustin, I think this team is, for some reason, they're going to tick there. I mean, they're going to get a win, maybe 2 out of these, and it's going to make it very interesting going this after the UF game. I don't know. It could be the UF game that they end up winning. It is going to irate this fan base as much. You know, yes, you always want to beat the Gators and such, but
You will never see me get mad at beating the Gators.
No, you won't. You won't do that. But as the future lies, it's another off season of exactly what you just had, and even worse. And I don't know how you're going to sell tickets going into next season. I really don't. And getting the boosters and everything all aligned there, I don't know. It's going to be very interesting next 3 games. Florida State's, Mike and them, they're relying on trying to get to this bowl game. But there's a very good chance that could rely all the way into Gainesville. And what was that back in? What year was that, Delu? 2021?
21. Yeah, you had the 0-4 start. Then Florida State, they went 5-2 down that stretch and beat Miami. Went to Boston College, beat Boston College,
beat UNC.
And then, that was beforehand, but
Still
like that late stretch that they made in the season. Then went to UF, interim head coach. Gators looked lifeless after firing Dan Mullen, and you lose to Emory Jones in Gainesville. And Emory Jones threw 3 picks in that game.
Yeah, he did. I don't know how FSU found a way to lose that game, but they sure did. They very much did. But yeah, some 3 big games left on the table for Florida State to try to reach a bowl game. But that's going to do it for us here on Hear the Spear. We'll be live with you guys Saturday night, right after the game, with our instant reaction to Florida State versus Virginia Tech. That kicks off at 7:30. We appreciate y'all watching per usual all throughout the week. I understand that the season isn't the way that anybody has wanted it to be, but we appreciate y'all always coming on here, hanging out with us, and giving us some topics to talk about in the comments, and always supporting us. It definitely means a lot, and we appreciate y'all riding with us all throughout the season and off season as y'all came in here with us. But y'all have a great rest of y'all's week, and we will talk to you guys Saturday night after Florida State versus Virginia Tech. Peace.